Hello, everybody. How you doing on this lovely Tuesday morning? I would like to always start it off with a cheerful, do you care about your self-care? Yes. And out of self-care, everything that revolves around doing better, getting better, knowing better, feeling better, eating better, thinking better, talking better, treating others, and as well as most importantly, yourself better is all about self-care. And unfortunately, we go through events in life that we can't control, things that are out of our power, and sometimes even beyond our understanding. But when it happens, we have to take it's hard to say it, but it's one thing to do it. You know, not everyone is willing to go through it and step forward and accepting what happened. And that's the start of it all. Accepting that it happened and that it was out of your control. And that is complete injustice. And I want to get to the quote for this podcast topic and what we're going to dive into. True peace is not merely the absence of tension. It is the presence of justice by Martin Luther King. A man whose words is being vandalized, his analogies, or some would say his ideologies, are being viewed as passive aggressive, but yet he was a pacifist, you know. But let it be told by those who oppressed him in his time of having to stand up in the name of justice. And here we are 50, 60 some years later in that same injustice. So when it comes to community experience and tragedy of the magnitude of one day meant for family and celebration like Mother's Day, a shockwave that felt all across the nation, like from viewers watching all of it unfold here in the city of Paterson, or what happened. For those that are aware, there was a shooting on Mother's Day. And just to shift a little bit back to being passive consumers, you know, and the tragic news to understanding that Paterson pain reflects a little deeper. I'm starting to read the question. But our question of today is, how do we shift just being passive consumers of tragic news to understanding that Paterson pain reflects a deeper systematic crisis of community safety that affects us all of us? How can we shift from being passive consumers of a tragic news with the understanding that Paterson's pain reflects a deeper systematic crisis of community safety?
I'm just going to keep it on this question right here. Personal accountability, number one, is the foremost answer. Everybody needs to take themselves accountable for the situation at hand. Paterson, okay, I'm just going to go there. Paterson has a problem. It has a community problem. It has a black problem. There's a freaking problem here, and that's not being addressed. And yeah, there's gang violence, but why are there gangs? Yeah, there's this stuff going on, but why is it going on? The families, the breakdown of the family, whatever the reason is, that it's not being addressed. It's not being addressed properly, and it needs to be. It really needs to be. So until the street people get together and have their meeting and get some sense about how they can fix their little stuff that they got going on, it's going to be like that.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Right. Yes.
I think when I look at it, in general, I say, why all this happening in Paterson and not on all those cities around? And then I came out like, I see that we don't have a strong network. We don't work. There's something in the middle, like there is something in a hole in the middle that, you know, why all this drug is in here? Why all this happening here? So what's going on? I mean, I'm sure that there is some people that are, you know, they have a knowledge or they have position to look at this and find, you know, a way to stop this. It happened in New York City. It's called, back in the 80s, and it's called the broken windows, and they fight it. And look at now, there is some, you know, neighborhood in New York City that they were like violent and drug and substance use and all those things. And now you look at them, it's clean. So that means when they want to do something, they do it. Yeah. So is it for, I have no idea. I just keep my mouth shut.
I get what you're saying in the sense, because I actually had this conversation somewhat on the cuspice of what you're saying. And I'm going to just narrow it out and tie it in with what Erica said. Because there's a black problem. And I'm going to say that for one more time. There's a black problem. And the only ones who can actually fix that problem are the black people. And the problem that we keep reiterating over and over is telling someone who's holding a chain that's connected to our wrist, ankle, mind, whatever it is that it's connected to, you're telling that person to let it go, but yet you have a knife in your hand. You're telling them to let you go and you have a knife in your hand and you're asking nicely. And I'm gonna let you go. And I'm not saying that in a sense where we have to retaliate and act a whole bunch of just rash immediately when I say that. I'm saying it in the sense of we keep talking about a situation we know how to fix for ourselves, but we keep asking someone else to fix the problem. Our problems will only be fixed if we be consistent with the solutions and not deviate back to other things or trying to sidewind things in our own favor within our own people, in the sense of we know we need to open up businesses, job opportunities. So we need to hire ourselves and just ourselves only, because those opportunities elsewhere are being taken away. But then when we do have those opportunities open, we have individuals looking for a leeway or 50% off when they wouldn't even ask that from the individual they went to go get a job from, that's going to fire them just because of who they are and what they look like. We need to stop trying to ask for handouts when no one's going to hand out anything. We just have to work for it together.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so in order to change the situations in any society or community, it takes a decade, because it takes like years to change that, you know, people change the mentality. So what I want to say is the problem is in the system, yes, not in the people, because what makes those people act like that or have those behaviors is just because they're not being treated, or maybe there is lack of knowledge or education. Yes. So basically, and I disagree with you when you say this about black people here in Paterson. Well, there is a community, a Spanish community too. So it's not about, when it comes to addiction and addicts, it's always, it doesn't have to be like a color. We have Arab community, we have Spanish community, we have black community, and all of them are affected. So now, what I want to say, so is the system itself that should be like getting some people and, that are, deserve to be in those positions, the right person in the right place. So, and take this seriously, because if they want to, stop this flail or this phenomenon in the city, they have to work seriously on it. And as I said, in New York City, and that happened, and it was like we have, an experience, and it worked. So basically, I can say that maybe having substance use in the city, it may be a benefit for peoples, not for the community. So and that's what I want to say. Thank you.
Does anyone else have a part to say on the first question? Okay, we'll move on to the next part. But I do agree with there should be something for every problem. Substance use, crime prevention, abuse. It should all be there. We have the facility power. I'm gonna say it that way. The facility power, because there's many organizations all over, and some of them, like ourselves here at Chosen Generation, we're outsourcing with other nonprofits, and we're helping one another. If we don't have the resources, we know someone we can refer you to in them resources. And that's really one of the starts of how we can clean up certain things within the community. So with our second question, I'm just reading in a narration before I get to the question. The raw emotions of that night was captured in a viral video where we saw the unimaginable, our brother desperately trying to administer aid to his sibling, bleeding with a gunshot wound on the ground, only to be tackled and assaulted by the very police sworn to protect the scene. As a family, here's the question. As a family, how do you even begin to process or heal from a trauma that came from two sides at once? The senseless street violence that put one brother into the hospital, and the aggressive police response that criminalized the family instead of saving them.
At the beginning, it says, how do you even begin to process or heal from a trauma that came from two sides at once? That situation that happened on Mother's Day was traumatizing to people that wasn't even in the family. And on the outside of looking in and dealing with ceasefire, I felt it on both sides.
The South Carolina Pick 4 evening results for Saturday, May 16th.
So I felt it on both sides as part of the community and as part as an organization. So what did we do to help? Basically, it was after the fact, because I was in a whole nother state, but it was after the fact where let's communicate with them. When the video was traumatizing.
Yes, it was.
To me. I'm going to say to me. I'm quite sure to other people as well. But to me, when just watching the video in Texas, because it was on Facebook before it was even on the news.
Yes.
Yeah. So watching it and you can't do anything, it took our celebration to another level. Because now we're worrying about not only the people that's in Paterson, but the police officers, because you got to realize retaliation comes in different forms.
Yes, it does.
And so now, not only was he trying to help his brother, now he's being abused. And now we're looking at the police officers and saying, well, maybe they need sensitivity training. Because now that's a situation where the city got to pay for something else to get done. So it was a very, the whole situation was crazy, even with the people that did the shooting. So now there's another nationality involved. So now you got all these people, but it was very traumatizing because now you have all different nationalities, and then you look at like Iman said, you have a lot of different people that sitting in seats that, quote unquote, where was they? You know, I mean, you got the police, you got the council, you got the mayor. So you have all these different people with all these different.
I just want to pause you at the end and then allow you to continue. When it came up to seeing a lot of those individuals who did pop up, and if you guys watch our podcast, just know I'm just gonna tell the truth, and I'll still respect you. And if you don't, that's cool. We're all human beings. A lot of what I saw from them was a lot of publicity, a lot of show fronting, because elections was literally 2 days after that. And some was saying, "Oh, my office is right around." Your office nowhere in that district. Your office is nowhere in that district, and you don't deserve a seat in that office. You nor the man that was with you when you won your election. So I'm just gonna let you and that pedophile, and I ain't gonna say his name, but I'm gonna voice about the things that you've done to people. And people like you don't deserve to be in the office that you're in. And I don't care how it makes you feel when I say the things that I'm saying, but at least I'm not going to say your name because I'll give you that much credit. Because somebody believes you belong in that seat. I'm going to let you know.
Okay, so now that was traumatizing too, because you got to understand, everybody don't deserve a seat at the table, period. And whoever got the votes got the votes. Say whoever got the seat got the seat.
Right.
And we have a new councilwoman at large, soon to be Dr. Paula Alford. She is our new councilwoman at large. So you do need a change. You do need a change. So, but to help.
And with that being said, as far as help, do you believe in as a farmer, right? When he's planting new fruits, new vegetables, new seeds, he flips the ground, right? So it's basically a whole new soil. It's not even the same soil. So let's look at a council office as soil. There's no substance there, and it's the same individual plants there saying that they can give you substance, but we're not seeing the substance. We need to flip the ground.
I agree. Because now we're talking about council instead of the trauma, but I agree.
But that
with
is the start of the trauma.
Yeah, I agree. The start of the trauma really began back with Silk Silly, where they built the guns in Paterson.
Right
so
here.
you got to really look at that, because as an individual, my nephew was killed by gun violence, so I understand the trauma behind this. But you got to understand, we as a people need to be educated on not only the violence and the trauma, but on self-care.
Solution.
Yes, so we have to look at the individuals that's doing it. If they are if it's gang related, if it's family related, regardless of whatever the situation is, you gotta try to find a solution to it. And when it comes down to the council, Paterson City Council, it needs to be a change. One person cannot change it, but if you get back and if you sit back and you think about who they are and what are they doing, they're there for legislation. They're not there to do anything more than that, but to put things in place. So they positions as far as being in the midst of this trauma, it was no need for them to be there. Regardless if their office was around the corner or their office was in front of the shooting. So, but as individuals, they reap what they sow.
Yeah.
You know.
I hope sooner than later. I hope sooner than later. But that's my opinion. We have another. You right. Some kids, yeah. We got. You know, I got traumatized. Hold up.
Thank you. I just got to say, at the end of the day, my opinion is the whole government is just the biggest gang out there. You get what I'm saying? You got, and I cannot stand politics, but we want to talk about politics. The government is the biggest gang. You got the councilmen that work with the mob. You got them doing all kinds of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then it comes down to the cops where they're the worst gang ever. You know what I'm saying? They wanna, you know.
Boys are blue.
One of our brothers that work here, his son happened to him. The cops were right outside, didn't do shit about it. And then the whole thing, didn't do squat about it. That's what I said. I said squat. It sounded like the other word, but it's squat. And then with this, you know, from what I didn't see the videos. I didn't know that there was videos about the shooting on Mother's Day. But from what I'm hearing and what I'm reading with the cops beating up the kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, why? Because he was black? Why? Because they go by image. You see a young black man that, you know what I'm saying, with dreads and with baggy clothes, well, it could be a family man. That's how he dresses. Doesn't mean that he's gang banging, doesn't mean he's doing this or doing not wrong, but because they see him like that, they ain't gonna help him. You know what I'm saying? So, to me, that's why, listen, I'm clean 14 months, but it'll never change the way that I feel about cops. I dislike them, I don't trust them, and they can kick rocks.
Some of them. Okay.
I'm clapping to the 14 years of sobriety. You know what I'm saying? I said 14 months. Excuse me. I think I told the future. 14 years. Was that everyone? That was okay. All right. It seems like we on a road to a positive solution on how we should go about our electees, I should say, because we are the mass. We are the ones in control, and I would like to also say that we need to be more, as you was talking about education. I feel we need to really educate our children, and just in the schools. I believe this should be taught from 3rd grade or 2nd grade. Law, like children should know how to Since now that as of today, did you know that today a bill was passed to allow 14-year-old children to be acquitted in court in trial as adults, as well as able to now marry at 14? No, that's all over America as of today.
Malcolm X's birthday?
Yeah. Wow. Did anyone know that? 14, and you can go to jail as an adult. But that's not excusable. But at the end of the day, this is what's happening. But you see how I'm telling you this, and none of you knew that was happening. You see the problem, the communication. We talk about community. We talk about we're supposed to be together. How is? Yeah, that is a pedophile.
Okay, so at the end of the day, when it comes down to, when I'm gonna say when I was growing up, I can't say we, but when I was growing up, we stood in a child's place. Okay, so if my parents was talking, I would be seen and not heard.
I was there too.
Okay, so I'd be seen and not heard. and I was not able to repeat anything I heard. So it went in one ear and went out the other. And I still have that into me today. Like a lot of people could, like he was just talking, and I was like, oh, okay. And not just now, though, not just now. But it could go in and out because we was trained like that.
Train to mind your business.
Yeah. And the Bible said, train up a child in the way he should go, and he will not depart far from it. And so we are still used to that training. So now, the next generation under me is being raised by, not everybody, but some are being raised by their siblings. Some are being raised by other people where they not getting that same substance that we received when we was growing up. So how could we change it? How could we change this crisis that's going on in the city of Paterson, the world? Because now you're saying a 14-year-old can get married.
Yeah.
It's legal. Who put that in place? And
believe it, that's right.
Yeah, who put that in place? Because they did not send out a survey for me or the next person that's against that. Because my 14-year-old, if I had a 14-year-old, they're not getting married. You know, my 21-year-old grandson, you're not ready for marriage.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so when you get 30, okay, maybe. Because you're not in your right mindset. You know, 14-year-old is grammar school. How young are you? How young are you? You 12? She's 11 years old. And she don't know nothing about that. She shouldn't know anything about that. I'm not going to say she don't know, but she shouldn't. Let the child, I'm not a doll for you. You understand what I'm saying? Let them get that childhood. I was playing with dolls at that age.
But don't you know the ones that made that rule to
They
do that?
are the
ones that
pedophiles.
be the ones. They're the pedophiles. They made the rules so they can do what they've been doing.
Like the Epstein family.
It's just hurt people trying to hurt more people. You know? So it.
You stir something up.
The Epstein files. Okay.
Hey, look, they're hurt people trying to hurt more people, and now.
So like you said, easy hurt people, and that's true because they not healed. So being that they not healed, they're gonna hurt somebody else. But not only that, those are pedophiles. Anybody that wants somebody to be, cover your ears, involved with a 14-year-old child. Because they're a child, they still are children. So if anybody that's in their right mind, because they're in their right mind, they know what they're doing. To be involved with a 14-year-old child, do your child first.
Yeah, but some of them are.
I know.
Some people like having babies with their babies to be having babies so they can have babies with their babies.
That's too much babies. That's too much babies.
And I understand that, and it's sad. It's sad.
Let's move along. I just wanted to throw that out there. I wanted to throw that out there because it's sad that there are laws being passed and the general public do not have a say over what can pass. And yet we are the ones paying the bills. We are the ones holding the weight. We are the ones making those 14-year-olds. We are the ones making those supposed scientists that they need, them engineers that Lockheed Martin need, right? You need engineers. You need working able people willing to do things. But if you keep doing what you're doing, there ain't gonna be nobody to do it. For the final question? All right, I'm about to jump on it right now. Position the camera for your seat. We on the final question right now. So, wait. We ending it now. We ending it. It's getting there. We about to squeeze the last bit of the juice.
I just want to say, easy, keep
I do. For our final question, in the chaotic aftermath of the mass casualty events, adrenaline runs high, but the compassion and protocol cannot be compromised. Looking closely at what happened in Paterson, what specifically structural changes need to happen? What specific, I'm gonna say it again, what specific structural changes need to happen in the law enforcement training and crisis response to ensure that when families rush to save their dying loved ones, they are met with support and medical priority rather than force and handcuffs? And the question is, how do we build a system that heals a neighborhood after a crisis?
I'm glad you asked that question. Actually, you kind of lost me there in the beginning.
I get right. Like Wednesday.
No, I don't necessarily, I'm an anarchist, so I definitely don't have an answer as far as police, but I know how the system, I know two things that they should not do, right? We're talking about the town that I have been in and dedicated my life when I was out there and now that I'm clean, right? What they're not should do, right? What they should not do, the two things, is one, just park a police car there and think that's going to deter things. And then when the lights go out, which when the sun goes down, they just go home because that shift's over. That's the first thing. The second thing they should not do is roll in a crew just as deep as the crews that hang on the corner, right? And act just as ignorant and childish as the people that are out there talking smack. And now, thank God for body cams, on my social media, I've personally responded to it, and I've been getting hella feedback, right? Because it's absolutely ridiculous to see the police who have went through their little minimal civil service training or whatever, and supposedly have a high school diploma and maybe something more, right? And their own families, and maybe aren't necessarily residents of the city, right? Walking through telling other little hood cats to, you know, suck their thing, just like them, or their mother, this and that. That's not what that's just fracturing it more and making the people of the hoods lose more and more respect, right? So these are two things, I don't know what the answer to your question is, but those are two things I know for sure that they're doing, and that doesn't work. Thank you.
But that is a good start.
Thank you.
That is a good start. And I want to say, on that video, there was just pure bigotry. It was just pure bigotry from the city of Paterson Police Department. Every single officer that was out there spewing out that retarded, that redundance. That was pure redundant. Every single one of you need your rank dropped by 2 ranks. And whoever sent you out there should get 6 months of desk duty. 6 months of desk duty. Yeah, and 6 months of desk duty, 6 months on the streets. Yeah, not half, 3 months it is. No, a full. And also.
Thanks for that.
Okay, because I thought we was on this question before. How can we heal? Communication is the key. And support is the key. Understanding that just because you have on a badge and a body cam and a gun, that you no bigger than somebody that have on a t-shirt and shorts. Another way is where we was trying to get this because we got into gun violence is a crisis. We got that legislation passed that they should also be able to at least live in the city for 5 years. So this way they could see who they dealing with instead of just assuming who they dealing with. Okay.
There's some discrepancies with that part.
Okay.
There's some discrepancies with that part.
Because some of the people here in this town don't want to be police officers. Yeah, I said there's a discrepancy in that last part. There's people here in this town alone that literally oppose being an officer. So that's why they always hire outside of town.
Yeah. But if you are part of a community and you want change, you're gonna strive for change. And if you are okay, say for instance, I'm a community activist, so I'm gonna look out for my community. And if you are a police officer, you're gonna make sure ain't nobody hanging out on the street. You're gonna make sure that person, if this person need help, you're gonna make sure they gonna get help because you don't want them breaking into your house. You know,
But that means, I'm in full agreement with what you're saying, because in fact, I'm gonna just say it. With what you're saying, still ties back to what I was saying earlier, where as black people, when we get into a position of power or a position to change, and others see us, sometimes all of us, including the bad parts of us, I'm talking about us as a whole, want a portion of that individual because of what they hold with them. So here you are, an officer in your neighborhood doing all of what God has put in you to do to make your neighborhood better. And now here you have that one bad apple. You guys can talk, you guys can relate, you guys can have a agree or disagree conversation with no problem. But at some point, Mr. Bad Apple wants something. Now he's gonna do whatever he gotta do to get that want from me. I have family at risk. I have cousins, nieces, a wife, whatever I have that they can have access to is at risk. So that's where we as a community need to protect that individual at all costs. Not saying that Mr. Bad we shouldn't protect either, but we need to have Mr. Bad understand we don't do that no more. And we don't care. If you're not going to get with the program, then you can go over there and be what they want us to be by yourself. Period. That's where it's going to have to really start. Because we do need more males, female, black officers in this town, in this area, on the grounds, boots on the ground, boots strapped, knuckle, buckle, knuck if you buck on the ground. We need that.
and you can heal because if I take care, so we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 people here, right? Or how many of them? If we all take a block and we heal that block, and then everybody that's healed from that block go to another block. And everybody from that block, a domino effect. So now we healing. Now we healing. So yeah. So I done healed this household. So that household gonna go heal that household. And we keep going, and that's how you heal the community.
Let me just read the world. Okay? And it's 2 Chronicles 7:14. Don't mean to be all about biblical, but it's true relationship.
But it's real.
If people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray
And
seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sin, and I will give their sin, and I will heal the land. All the way to the top to the bottom. From the gun violence to whatever it is that taking lives, that's one of the reasons why, because people, their head is not right now. You know what I'm saying? There's so much wickedness on the land until it's like taking over everybody's mental, majority of people mental. So once this happened, then everybody can kind of come back down to themselves and things can kind of like go back to norm.
So So, what is normal? Like, shoot. With how our police, and not even just in the city of Paterson, the police all over America, and then crime all over America. Those two things, I can't even say what's normal. Cause you can't tell me it's normal to just go outside and because you had a discrepancy with somebody up the block or up the hill, down the hill, in a different set group on a block nobody owns, but we all say this is my block, which is insane in itself. But I get the terminology, but is that really normal? No. Like, none of it makes sense. So it's not normal. No. So, ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with complete injustice to take in and ask yourself, what is normal justice? What is righteous justice? What am I going to step up and speak on when I see it? What am I going to change? And when I see that there's something that's not there where it's supposed to be, as far as a position that needs to be filled by an individual, am I going to fill that position or am I going to be looking for someone else to fill it? So do you care about your self-care? Yeah.